Conwy Castle is one of the most interesting and historically important castles in Wales because it represents the power, ambition, and military skill of medieval England, while also symbolizing Welsh resistance and identity. Construction of the castle began in 1283 and was commissioned by King Edward I as part of his campaign to conquer and control Wales. Today, it stands as one of the best preserved medieval fortresses in Europe and is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. One reason Conwy Castle is so fascinating is its strategic location. It sits on a rocky outcrop overlooking the River Conwy, with natural defenses provided by the sea and the surrounding land. This position allowed the English to control movement by land and water, while making it extremely difficult for Welsh forces to attack or retake the area. The castle was also integrated into a fortified town, with walls connecting the castle to Conwy itself, showing how military defense and urban planning worked together in the Middle Ages. Amazingly, Conwy Castle and the town wall which surrounds the town were built in only 4 years.
I'm excited to be here today and to finally be able to do a vlog of this castle, one of my favorites. I first came here in 1985. I came back with Ian and our sons. They enjoyed it. They were little kiddos and they thought it was great fun. And now I'm back today and I'm here to show you around. All right, we're walking across the bridge to enter the castle. This is where the portcullis would have dropped.
The castle's design highlights the advanced military engineering of the time. Conwy Castle has 8 massive towers, thick stone walls, and a complex system of gates and barbicans that made it very hard for attackers to break in. Its layout was carefully planned so defenders could retreat and continue fighting even if parts of the castle were captured. The castle was designed by James of St. George, a master architect who worked on several of Edward I's Welsh castles, and Conwy is considered one of his finest achievements.
It was built to withstand sieges, including having their own fresh water supply and its own dock.
Historically, Conwy Castle played a key role in several important events. In 1294, during a Welsh uprising led by Madag ap Llywelyn, King Edward I was trapped inside the castle during the winter. Despite being under siege and suffering from shortages, the castle held firm, demonstrating its strength and strategic value. Later, during the Civil War in the 17th century, the castle was held by royalist forces before eventually falling into ruin, marking the end of its military use.
Even though this castle is a ruin, you can walk along so much of the top of it and into the towers, as well as walk along the town wall.
Beyond its military importance, Conwy Castle is significant as a symbol of English domination over Wales. Its construction followed the defeat of Welsh princes such as Llywelyn II, and it represented the imposition of English law, culture, and authority. For the Welsh, the castle became a lasting reminder of conquest and loss, while for England it was a statement of royal power and control. Today, Conwy Castle is important because it helps us understand medieval warfare, politics, and society. Its impressive state of preservation allows historians and visitors to see how castles functioned, both as fortresses and as royal residences. Conwy Castle is not only an architectural masterpiece, but also a powerful historical symbol, making it one of the most significant castles in Britain.
There are wonderful art displays around Conwy which bring it to life in a new perspective. This rather looks like a Christmas tree lit from within and made of shields and swords and axes and helmets. It is really windy up here, but I think this tower has the best view. Even though it is the last day of school, a Friday afternoon around 4:30 p.m., we're really lucky in that it's not crowded here and we pretty much have the place to ourselves. This is King Edward's private chapel here. And in here, he was able to sit and watch services in the main chapel below in his own private chamber. And for further privacy, this chapel even had this little room off to the side. his own private toilet.
Literally a loo with a view. Indeed, a very beautiful seaside view.
This is the chapel. It really does look like a medieval chapel. The arches and the vault and lovely Gothic stained glass windows. This is the king's chamber. And there's this art installation looking like the king's head, ginormous, hanging here. This looks like a very big fireplace. This is the largest open area. And over here would have been my favorite place, the granary. And here's the stockhouse tower. And I just saw a pigeon poking his head out right here. I see you. He's trying to hide from me. I guess this is where they would have stored their supplies. No, I take that back. The granary is not my favorite place. The bakehouse tower is my favorite place. I remember this place. There's a fireplace up there, but I believe this is the bread oven. And if I'm not mistaken, I took a photo here with some friends from uni back in 1985. And here I am in 2024, back in the bread oven. And here is the well. Yeah, be careful, don't drop your sunglasses down there, Ian.
That is deep, man.
And I'm glad to report I didn't drop my camera down the well. This was the stable where they kept the horses. And here is the kitchen tower and the kitchen. Wonder what was there. And across from the kitchen is the Great Hall where they would take the food to.
Over 700 years, there were only 3 monarchs who stayed in these royal apartments of Conwy Castle: Edward I, Edward II, and Richard II. That cost over £420 from the public accounts. That's over £1 million today. That investment might seem pretty extravagant, and it is. While Conwy was completed, Carnarvon and Beaumaris castles were never finished, as Edward I was hit by his own money worries.
This would have been a great big fireplace. More Gothic-looking windows. I can imagine the magnificent ceiling this once had. But now the birds are just hanging out in here. So many guests came here to be fed lavish feasts and the best wine. But it's a short trip behind the fireplace to the prison tower, followed by a 12-foot drop into the dark, damp, horrible dungeon at its base. Conwy is a perfect sandcastle kind of castle, with its tall, round towers and crenellations, which is particularly nice because it is right next to the beach and the sand.
Within the shadow of the castle is another tourist spot that we just had to include in this vlog: the smallest house in Great Britain. When we visited 20 years ago, our sons wanted to look inside, but this was my first tour. Come along with me and I'll show you a quick peek inside this exceptionally wee house. This tiny house is 430 years old. It was lived in until 1900. The last person to live here was a fisherman. That part is not surprising because the house sits right on the waterfront where all the fishing boats are kept. But what is very surprising was that he was 6 foot 3 inches tall. The man who owned the house traveled all over the country, measuring small houses to confirm that his was the tiniest house. It was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records and became a tourist attraction. To keep the house functional in such a compact footprint, the space was used very efficiently. The coal was kept underneath a seat, and the water tap was behind the stairs, and the cooking was done on the fire. To get to the upper floor, you climbed these treacherous little ladder steps up to the trapdoor, which when closed made the bedroom one complete floor that you could walk around on. It really is quite a cramped wee house, and I cannot imagine living there. Conveniently located near the tiny house was this kiosk selling real Welsh dairy ice cream, which you know Ian had to sample. And here's Ian with the castle behind him having his ice cream. Surprising turn of events, he got cookies and cream, which he never does.
Well, it was really fun coming back to Conwy Castle today. I hope you enjoyed this little castle excursion, and please be sure to check out some of my other castle videos here. Thanks so much for watching, and do something good in the world today.